This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Now at 11, Indianapolis will soon join the growing list of cities with major streets that carry the words Black Lives Matter. It's a sign of solidarity we've seen across the country since the death of George Floyd. Thanks for joining us here at 11 o'clock. I'm Mark Mullins. The future mural on Indiana Avenue is something local advocates have been working on for a while. RTV6's Cameron Riddle shows you why the location was intentionally chosen and what happens after the paint has dried.
Indiana Avenue will soon look a little different when the words Black Lives Matter are painted on this historic stretch of road, a once prominent area for Black-owned businesses in the early days of Indianapolis.
Indiana Avenue historically was a Black area where Black people gathered that had bars and clubs and businesses that were dedicated to Black people.
Somewhere near the Madam Walker Legacy Center and the headquarters for the Indianapolis Urban League will be a mural with the words Black Lives Matter along with the faces of people killed by police in Indianapolis. The plan was approved by the City County Council this week, but members of Indy 10 have been working on the concept and planning for several weeks.
We wanted to be a part of it specifically to make sure that it was brought down to a local level, that the names that were spoken weren't just George Floyd, weren't just Mike Brown, names that are very important, but it was also brought down to Christopher Goodloe, Dre John Reed, Mikhail Rose, Eleanor Northington.
Members of Indy 10 say protesting in the streets isn't the only thing they do. Their goal is to show why Black Lives Matter and why there is a need for systemic change. You'll see them do that as they work to elevate Black artists and performers from Indy, creating a paid opportunity for Black artists to paint the mural and Black performers who will be on stage at the block party for the mural's unveiling.
So this really is a way for us to center Black joy and to make sure that we are sustaining our community as we're seeking to do it.
While the mural could be considered a step toward progress, members of Indy 10 Black Lives Matter say there is still plenty of work ahead.
Because we are getting a mural painted in the street does not mean that we stop fighting for justice. That we still have demands, we still need systemic change, we still need for the police to be defunded, and we still need the autopsy report for Dre John Reed to be released, and we need for the officers to be brought to justice.
In Indianapolis, Cameron Riddle, RTV6.
Indy 10 Black Lives Matter will host a block party as the last letters are painted on Indiana Avenue on Saturday, August 1st from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. Guests of the block party will be asked to remain socially distant.
This isn't a happy moment. It's a necessary moment.
That's the reaction from Vox Booker after the Monroe County prosecutor filed charges against two men seen in this video. The case has been in the spotlight since the video was recorded on July 4th at Lake Monroe. Booker says a group of white men pinned him against a tree, yelled racial slurs, and threatened to lynch him. Sean Purdy and Jerry Cox face several charges, including battery and intimidation. Booker says while he received a lot of community support, some of the reaction and the way the investigation was handled speaks to larger issues that go beyond this case.
From online bullying of myself and others, to even the Department of Natural Resources, a powerful government entity directly under the control of our governor, going through such extraordinary and unusual steps to victim shame me and suggest that I be held culpable in my own lynching, or an attempted lynching, luckily. And we have to understand that it's this behavior that stops people from moving forward to speak out in the beginning. If we're going to attack, malign, and disrespect every individual that speaks the truth, we're never going to be the America that we were promised to be in the Constitution.
RTV6 reached out to Purdy's legal team for comment. They say they are aware of the charges, but declined to comment today. More fall events are being canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. First, a big blow to high school marching bands. Today, the Indiana State School Music Association announced all 2020 ISMA live marching band events are canceled. This means students will not get to perform at Lucas Oil Stadium for regionals, semi-state, and state final competitions. Some bands had already started summer practice. And thousands of people will not run through downtown Indianapolis in November. The Monumental Marathon and related races have been scrapped. They will be converted into virtual events. Now to the forecast here on this Friday. Storm Team 6 meteorologist Kyle Mounts joining us now, helping you plan your weekend. Kyle.
And Mark, it is going to be a 3H weekend, hazy, hot and humid here across central Indiana. And those afternoon heat index values are going to be ranging from about 95 to even 105. So if you do have plans to be out this weekend, certainly need to take some breaks in the cooler environments and get inside a little bit. Temperatures, they're warm out there. We're still sitting in the middle to upper 70s, and tomorrow morning we will start off the weekend around 70 degrees with some sunshine, already the middle 70s here at 9 a.m. Now the humidity, it was a little noticeable out there today. It will go sky high tomorrow and stay there the next several days, when this could actually work in our favor and bring us some downpours in a few minutes.
More central Indiana school districts are delaying their return to in-person classes. Hamilton Southeastern Schools now says it will start with virtual instruction on August 6th. That will continue through Labor Day at least. The district says it will reopen in phases. Specific details of that plan are expected to be released by Wednesday. And Franklin Community Schools is shifting the start of the school year to August 17th. The district says 3 factors played a role in the decision: Governor Holcomb's order to stay in stage 4.5 through the end of the month, an increase in students choosing the virtual school program, and the delay will give officials more time to consider any additional safety measures. For most families that have a choice, deciding whether to send kids to school or learn virtually is extremely difficult. Some students may miss out on extracurricular activities if they choose the online option. That's the case in Franklin Township. Marissa Dobbs says her son will be a junior in high school. She does not feel comfortable sending him back to the classroom right now, but she thinks playing football is a safe way to keep him involved.
They're using social distancing. When the kids, they're all in their own pod, depending on their position, and if they can't be 6 feet apart, they have to wear masks. They are not utilizing the weight room or the locker rooms. They have to take their clothes home to wash them, and they're outdoors, so that's less of a chance of getting it versus being confined in a classroom.
Under guidelines set by the Indiana High School Athletic Association, students who choose e-learning are eligible to participate in sports as long as their classes are taught by teachers at their school. But school districts can set their own standards. Franklin Central has decided to require in-person learning for participation.
It breaks my heart. It truly does. I mean, I won't sleep at night because I know how much him and my younger son love football and sports, and he's worked hard for this. You know, he's been in sports since he was 5 years old in football, and he works hard. So I'd hate to see him have to miss that.
Marissa hopes district leaders will change their mind. A spokesperson for Franklin Township Schools declined an interview, but released a statement saying the decision is in accordance with policy and past practices. Advocates are preparing for an increase in reported child abuse cases when students return to school. Abuse reports have been down since March, when schools closed due to the pandemic. Advocates for children worry that decrease is because people who usually report abuse and neglect, like teachers, are not seeing kids. Organizations like Court-Appointed Special Advocates, or CASA, are looking for more volunteers ahead of the expected influx of reports. Jennifer Hisgen started volunteering with CASA 4 years ago. She contacts caseworkers, interviews parents, and visits kids in their home, serving as their voice.
You can just do the bare minimum, make a huge impact on a child's life every month. Meet the child, make sure they're safe. I'm a huge believer that the judge can only make the best decision if they hear all sides. And if it wasn't for child advocates, she would not hear that side of a child.
Right now, CASA training is all virtual. Only 6 hours a month is required to volunteer. For more information, go to theindychannel.com. And remember, under state law, anyone who suspects child abuse or neglect is required to report it. The Department of Child Services hotline number is 1-800-800-5556. 2,610 deaths in Indiana are now blamed on COVID-19. Across the U.S., the death toll is more than 139,000. Tonight, ABC's Zoreen Shaw starts with a reminder. Those are not numbers. Those are people.
As the coronavirus continues taking lives, this scene serving as a reminder of the challenges patients face battling the virus alone.
You don't recognize me with all this junk on my face, but it is Sam. I love you, sweetheart. I love you so much.
After months of not seeing his wife of nearly 30 years as she battled the coronavirus, 90-year-old Sam Reck risking his life to visit Joanne, wanting to say goodbye one last time.
Finally getting to hold your hand after all these months. Honey, let me hold your hand. Feel me squeezing your hand?
Joanne passing away in a Florida hospital, one of the 26 states with a climbing daily death toll. It also happens to be one of 18 states in a new and unpublished White House task force document the Center for Public Integrity obtained, considered red zones, where reopenings are recommended to be rolled back. A White House official saying the list was a guide for response efforts, not for the public to see. One of the states on that list is Georgia.
We shouldn't need a mask mandate for people to do the right thing.
The state's Governor Brian Kemp suing the city of Atlanta and its mayor for enforcing what he says is the right thing to do.
Mayor Bottom's mask mandate cannot be enforced, but her decision to shutter businesses and undermine economic growth is devastating. I refuse to sit back and watch as disastrous policies threaten the lives and livelihoods of our citizens.
The governor has simply overstepped his bounds in his authority, and we'll see him in court.
Georgia is also one of the states where testing can take up to hours. Back in Florida, some locations closing after running out of tests. That's where 16-year-old Haley O'Connell was sent home from the ER because her symptoms weren't considered severe enough. After being unable to breathe, she went back to the hospital, testing positive for the virus and spending over a week on a ventilator before finally leaving.
This is your friend, this is your sister, this can happen to you.
California's governor also fearing for people in this state. He said today that all schools, public and private, would stay closed this fall in 32 counties unless there were 2 straight weeks of cases dropping. Zorain Shah, ABC News, Los Angeles.
It works because our workout isn't an hour long of sweaty cardio. You can actually wear a mask, breathe comfortably.
Coming up here on RTV6, why some people are turning to specialized gyms to get fit as the pandemic continues.
This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Yeah, neighbors and families enjoyed live music at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Park this evening. The performance by Clint Breeze and the Groove kicked off the Indy Park Summer Concert Series. The pandemic has forced countless cancellations this year. Indy Parks is on a mission to continue to provide free, safe, family-friendly events to the community.
We're challenged to socially distance and still have a great time in parks. We're going to generally follow the rules, and as you might notice, our audience is following the rules and kind of spacing themselves out as we ask, and we hope that every concert we do will be just as well implemented.
Indy Parks will host concerts and movies throughout the summer at MLK, Broad Ripple, Eagle Creek, and Garfield Parks. Looks like it was a great time out there. A little warm, but I tell you what, the best seat in the house was the kid who was sitting in that pull wagon there under the shade.
Yeah, they're in the shade and need lots of water this weekend for sure. Well, this evening, if you're lucky, a show there in the sky that you get to check out. One more chance to see that comet flying through. And the window opens here in just a few minutes, 11:22, but you got to be patient because it goes all the way to 1:18 in the morning. You'll want to look low on the northwest horizon there. Most of us enjoying some clear skies, high pressure in control, but you can see a few of those high thin clouds are scooting in from the southwest. Shouldn't really obscure your view all that much. And temperatures don't cool down all that much tonight. Right around 70 degrees in Greenwood and Indianapolis, as well as Columbus. Middle 60s for you in Noblesville, and Muncie coming in at 68 degrees. Tomorrow, pick a spot by the pool. You're going to need that. Temperatures already getting into the middle 80s here by noon, 88 at 2 o'clock and 92 for the afternoon high. We'll gradually increase those clouds a little bit. Just a spotty shower or thunderstorm as we go through the afternoon. So rain chances about 20%. That allows us to heat back up into the 90s, 92 in Indy and Columbus as well as Lafayette. Muncie at 91. We talked about the increased humidity tomorrow. There is a heat advisory around Monticello into Peru and Hartford City. Really all of central Indiana, though, will have those heat index values close to 100 degrees tomorrow afternoon. And then as we look ahead to Sunday, it's going to be even hotter. So that heat index by noon is in the middle 90s, but at times it will feel like about 100 to 105 degrees Sunday afternoon. The actual temperature, it starts off toasty there Sunday morning at 8 a.m. We're already at 80 degrees with partly sunny skies. Temperatures climb to around 94. Partly sunny into the afternoon. Isolated shower or storm chance, I think a little bit better as we go into our Sunday afternoon. Here's a look at TrueCast. This is 4:30 Sunday. You can see that line of quick moving showers and storms. So again, not everyone's going to see the rain, and if you do, not a whole lot of it as it moves pretty quickly. There is already a marginal risk on Sunday that some of those storms that move through could have some gusty winds. So of course we'll be keeping tabs on that for you. Now things are still fairly dry here. We have some areas under moderate drought at this point. Good news is going into next week, it looks like those rain chances are going to be on the rise and could be fairly widespread here as we get into about Tuesday and Wednesday. 7-day planning forecast, few days of 90s here. 94 by Sunday, 90 on Monday. Then the rain chances come up and that will bring those temperatures down a little bit. Middle 80s for a high Tuesday and Wednesday, but we're back close to 90 with rain chances continuing for the end of the week. Mark.
Kyle, thank you. Starting an exercise routine can be difficult for people who have not worked out in years. The pandemic is creating an even bigger challenge for senior citizens looking to get into the gym. Scripps reporter Usha Qureshi shows us how a high-tech fitness center caters to those clients.
So here we go. 69-year-old Larry Fullhorse hadn't been to a gym in 40 years, but he needed to work on building strength in his legs.
Last year I had one knee replaced. I'm scheduled to have the other one this fall.
A Facebook post led him to a high-tech fitness studio, promising results without needing to spend hours sweating away in a crowded gym.
This sounds too good to be true. 20 minutes twice a week.
So now give me a modest push out on the handles. They won't move. Got to fill that bar all the way up and keep it full. Now keep pushing forward.
The Exercise Coach is a smart fitness studio that trades dumbbells and treadmills for artificial intelligence and robotics. Technology diagnoses strengths and weaknesses in real time.
We use sensors to actually get a feel for the exact muscular makeup and abilities of an individual, and then we use that personal data to generate appropriate strength training.
The programs are geared primarily toward people who haven't worked out in years or who are starting to exercise for the first time.
Generally people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and even beyond who want real results from a workout but don't want to spend a lot of time exercising.
With many big box gyms filing for bankruptcy as gym goers are weary about coronavirus, smart fitness studios are pivoting in. Compressed workouts, personal trainers, and no crowds are key.
It works because our workout isn't an hour long of sweaty cardio. You can actually wear a mask, breathe comfortably, get all the benefits of exercise through strength training.
Something that appeals to people who are in a particularly vulnerable age group when it comes to COVID-19, like Larry Fullhorst.
You look at a facility this big, there's no problem staying 6 feet away from somebody. Everybody's wearing a mask.
Excellent. It seems to be working for Exercise Coach. They've expanded to 90 locations in 27 states and are back operating at 90% capacity. Reporting from Lake Zurich, Illinois, I'm Usher Qureshi.
And by the way, there are 2 Exercise Coach locations in central Indiana. One is in Carmel and one is in Fishers. We'll be right back after this.
This is RTV6 News at 11, working for you.
Tonight, RTV6 Sports Director Dave First hosted an annual celebration of local high school student athletes, the Central Indiana chapter of the National Football Foundation's Scholastic Awards. The event included some special awards. Dave shares the emotional story of the Bousman family in tonight's Sports Extra Spotlight.
For over a decade, if it was West Washington football, it was Philip Bousman. Promoted as an assistant, he and the program have been waiting for an opportunity like this. And on a cold November night, they got it.
Semi-state, that's a big game. What did that game mean to him going into it?
Everything, because he's been coaching for so long and he's always won sectionals. Then he finally got that regional and then going into that game. And then all that happened that week.
A health scare before a school assembly Wednesday of semi-state week sent Philip to the hospital. Originally a headache, then passing out. Doctors wanted to put in a pacemaker, but he would recover after the procedure to make it back in time to take his team to Indianapolis to play Lutheran. When he went down again, a stroke, during the greatest moment of his high school football coaching career. What happened in the days following, inspiring a family who just lost a husband, father, and coach. A flag at half-staff, prayers at the local church, memorials on the field, the phrase Bowsman's strong on the lips of the entire community. And later that week, stadium lights from all around the state honoring the Bozemans, still felt months later.
Football lights are going on all around the state. What did that mean to you guys?
I mean, it was amazing. You just think we're this tiny little school out here, and I mean, we are literally surrounded by cornfields out here. And to think that all of these, you know, big schools and schools out of state are thinking about us and, you know, honoring him in that way was amazing. And it was a comfort that it's hard to explain.
There's talk of a statue outside the locker room and naming the new athletic facility after him. But first, recognized with the Central Indiana National Football Foundation Terry Courage Award. A father and coach of both his children who was able to keep his roles separated, rarely talked sports at home.
He actually coached me my senior year in basketball, and he did the same thing. He never would talk about it unless I wanted to talk about it, but basketball, it was all basketball, and that was it.
Did he have a saying?
Oh, he had many sayings.
It was all set to culminate with Holden's senior year. After starting as a receiver, he's now the Senators' quarterback. One final time.
What do you think your dad's message would be to you heading into that senior season?
Just enjoy it while you can, because the last 3 years have flown by, and it's your last year, so just go out and have fun.
Yeah, how good can you guys be?
We can probably make it back.
Yes. Well, and maybe even finish the job, because certainly a lot of fans around the state, and I know down there for West Washington, would love to see you guys play at Lucas Oil Stadium in the fall.
Yeah, that would be real nice.
A family, a father, and a coach. The locker room isn't quite the same these days. None of it is. But football teaches life lessons, power, perseverance. None more so than now.
We raised our kids in football. And I tell people that all the time. Like, you just don't get it. You have no idea what football really is. And it is so much more than on the field, and so much more than your X's and your O's, that it's something that unless you're involved in it, you just don't get it.
If you prefer to use pictures instead of words to communicate with friends and family, soon you'll have more options. Apple is reviewing its new emojis here. They include a ninja, a boomerang, a piñata, a bubble tea, a dodo bird there, as you see. The latest emoji list, approved by Unicode, was announced in January, but each platform vendor creates its own designs. iOS users will likely see these new images on their phones and other devices in September or October. You got a ninja and a coin.
We need the hot face emoji here for the weekend. We've got temperatures. They're going to heat up quickly on Saturday, getting into the lower 90s and middle 90s on Sunday. That'll come with just an isolated chance for a storm.
And that'll do it for us here on a Friday night. Thanks for joining us here for RTV6 News at 11. Have a great weekend, everyone.